Hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Childers, and I'm here again this week, and we're continuing the series called Our Story with One Chair at a Time. And we bring in an individual from the community and we talk about life, kind of before the accident, what they've been through, what keeps them moving forward. And today I'm sitting down with Alex, and I'm so honored to have him here. And we're going to dive into a little bit of his story. So, okay, tell me about how old are you?
I'm 27.
27.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell me what life was like before everything.
It was.
What was an average day for you?
I
Where did
worked
you
a
live?
lot. Yeah, I worked. Or I lived in Dalhart there for a little bit.
Okay,
I'm from here, from Amarillo, so
okay,
I've lived here most of my life. But yeah, I worked a lot in Dalhart there for. I was probably there for about 3, 4 years,
okay,
and then after my injury, I ended up moving to Dallas to do rehab and stuff like that. So,
okay.
but yeah,
So you lived in Were you in high school or were you out of high school?
I was out of high school.
Out of
Yeah,
high. Where did you
so
go to high school? Okay,
Tascosa High
so
School.
you went here in
Yes,
Amarillo.
yes.
Okay, all right, nice. So you were just working.
Yeah,
Who?
I was a lab technician over there in Dalhart, so I was doing a
Oh,
lot of like milk samples and just different stuff like that, like testing feed,
yeah,
um, yeah, blood work and stuff like that too.
yeah,
So spinning blood, just
yeah,
testing all the agriculture stuff out.
yeah.
So yeah,
Great job.
yeah,
That's a great job. Wow, that's awesome. So, okay, so that's what life looked like before the accident. So, tell me about the day of, and you can go into as much detail or as little detail as you want to, whatever you're comfortable saying. So, just kind of start with the day, what you remember.
yeah. So that day it was March 10th of 2021. I was at work and I had worked most of the day. It was about lunchtime. My brother had ended up calling me and telling me some information about my sister in law's little sister. She had ended up getting molested by a guy that we had known at the time that lived there in Dalhart.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I was at work and I was kind of, you know, fired up about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up telling my manager, asking her if I could leave. That I probably couldn't finish work just being in that state.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her to leave. She, granted me permission to leave. After that, I went home. My intentions were to go meet up with the guy to kind of, fight him for what he had done because I'd known him and everything like that. So I knew where he was at and everything. So I went, I picked up my girlfriend at the time. She gave me some basketball shorts. I changed in the car real quick. And then I went and met my brother over at the in law's house. And we kind of just met up and we're talking a little bit. I wasn't. I knew that these guys had guns, but I wasn't sure. I was just like, they're not going to use it. And I was telling my brother, I was like, they won't use it, whatever. Um, and so I was, we split off from there, and I ended up going to the guy's house. And on the way there, I just had a weird feeling. I was like, I don't know if I should. And then I was like, nah, I brushed it off. I was just like, I might as well just go, whatever. And so I was the first one to leave. I ended up getting there before my brother. And so I got out of the car pretty quick and I ended up going up to the door and I was knocking on the door. He ended up coming out and answering. And I was like, come outside. Like, you know what you did. Like, let's handle this like men. And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, no, I'm eating. I'm eating. And then he kind of closed the door and I was like, all right. And then shortly after that, he ended up coming out of the side of the house and um, I went around the house and I was like, well, come on, are we gonna do this or not? And ended up, he was like, well, yeah, let me just go get my brother. And I was like, okay, because my brother was there, and I was like, my brother's, he's just here to make sure I don't get jumped or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I followed him next door to go get his brother because his brother was next door. And he went inside, went to go get his brother. He's probably in there for like 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. So we were just outside waiting, and he came outside. And when he came outside, he was standing on the porch, and I was in the grass or on the concrete, and I went to go point down to go to, like, to look over to point at the grass because I didn't want to bust any head or necks
Mm-hmm.
on concrete or anything
Concrete,
like
yeah.
that. And as I went to go point, he sucker punched me in my nose, and it broke my nose. So I got pretty mad about that, so I ended up just taking him down right then and there. I double legged him, took him down, and we just were going at it. And I mean, I remember he was like scratching and like biting and like poking me, like trying to poke my eyes and stuff like that. So naturally, I was just like, okay. So I ended up turning him around. I put him in a rear naked chokehold, but I wasn't applying any pressure or anything like that because, he was able to talk and stuff
Mm-hmm.
still.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the whole time I had him like that, I was, telling him, I was like, you're gonna apologize for what you did to that little girl. The little girl, she was down the street at the time. She was in another car down the street, down the block. We didn't want her to watch all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I told my brother, I was like, go get her. And my brother was next to his brother, and as soon as my brother jumped off the porch to go get her, his brother pulled out a gun, shot my brother in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
The bullet went through his stomach and hit his wife's arm. Went completely through her arm. She was pregnant at the time. And so I heard the gunshot. Naturally, I let go of him and I went to go stand up. And as I was about halfway standing up, another gunshot, and that one ended up hitting me. So I was about halfway standing up and I just fell to the ground. And when I fell to the ground, I was like, oh, I can't move. I don't really know what's going on, but I can't move. And then I heard another gunshot, and he ended up shooting my brother in the chest, and it was like right next to his heart. So
Was your brother already down from the one in the stomach?
no, he was up, standing there, and that first gunshot it hurt him, but he was like trying to tell the dude to chill out, to like calm down and chill out because he had
Yeah.
seen him pointing the gun at me,
Yeah.
and so like after he pulled the trigger on me, he ended up pointing it at my brother again, shooting him in the chest, and then I heard that one and I was like, okay, well, so I ended up I turned my head and I saw my brother and he was just kind of leaned up against the house, just kind of hurting and stuff like that. So um, yeah, and I
So
ended
you're still on the ground
yeah I was still on the ground. I couldn't really
because you knew that you couldn't move.
yeah I couldn't move at the time.
At what point did you think, oh,
I think after about
this
like
is bad?
3 minutes of me because at first
Because I'm sure it was shock.
yeah, at first I thought something just hit me really hard, and I was like, okay, like kind of like numb feeling. So I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
maybe my legs are like
It's kind
asleep
of a
for a second or
zinger
something.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I ended up kind of realizing it was kind of serious. That bullet had got into my shoulder blade, and it ricocheted and went sideways and hit my spine. So it traveled sideways, went completely through my spine, hit my left lung, collapsed my left lung, and broke like 4 or 5 of my ribs on my left side.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so my adrenaline was still kind of kicking. So about I'd say probably about 10 minutes of laying there, I kind of realized I was having a hard time breathing,
Yeah.
and my brother was pretty hurt, and I looked at him and I was we told each other we loved each other and stuff like that. So but I could tell he's kind of like fading in and out. So we probably laid there for I don't know, maybe like 20, 30 minutes. And, the cops did their thing. They came in and, were clearing the area and everything like that.
Is the guy that shot you still around? Is he there? Did he run? Did he
They ran into
hang
the
out?
house. So
They ran inside?
yeah, so they ran into the house and hid in the house. The cops came, they knocked on the door, ended up getting them and everything. I remember pretty faintly the first cop I had seen. This was probably 10 minutes after I was laying there. I was noticing I was, having a hard time breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So the first cop I seen, he kind of walked past me. So I grabbed his pant leg and was shaking it, and I was like
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell him I couldn't really breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget the look on his face because he kind of looked down at me like, wide eyes, didn't really know what to do or say. So they did
Did he
that.
know you'd been shot?
No, they had known that I'd been shot. My brother's wife and my ex at the time, they ended up calling the cops like
Yeah.
shortly after the gunshot because like while I
Yeah.
was laying there, I ended up I knew my brother was more hurt than I was, so I sat up and took my
Yeah.
shirt off, which I don't know how I sat up and took my shirt off
Yeah.
because I wasn't able to sit up again for like another month and a half just
Yeah.
in the hospital bed.
It's
Um,
crazy what adrenaline does, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that and Yeah, they cleared the area, everything. The paramedics came in. Um, they got us on the stretchers and everything like that. And I kind of just looked over and glanced at my brother, and he kind of like his head kind of fell down a little bit, so I kind of knew he wasn't doing too good. Um, and then they loaded me into the ambulance. My sister in law, she got in the ambulance with me, and by this time they still didn't really do anything to me for my breathing, so I was like really having a hard time,
Struggling, yeah.
and so I remember the paramedic, he walked past me and I kind of grabbed him by the shirt and I pulled him towards me and I kind of yanked him towards me and I was like slapping my chest like I can't breathe, and they put like an oxygen mask on me and I just kind of I blacked out. Um, I woke up a little bit and I had noticed that I was getting pushed, rolled into the hospital there in Dalhart. And when I was, going in, I saw my brother next to me getting rolled in too. So I guess another rush of adrenaline. I was just, freaking out, trying to make sure he was okay. And I ended up like pulling everything off me, like they had put on me, and trying to ask if he was okay. And then I ended up blacking out again, and they were loading me up into a helicopter to air flight me over here to Northwest. And yeah, they ended up when I got in there, they put a tube in my chest. But while I was in the helicopter, they had put a main line to my heart and like a main IV line to my heart while I was in there. And yeah, I've woken up later on that night, and I was just wondering.
I know, it's gonna make me cry.
No, I was just wondering about my brother.
I know. And that is tragic. And you have experienced deep loss with him. I know you have.
Yeah, everybody has loss and stuff like that. It doesn't, everybody experiences different things. Um,
And that's true.
so
But
just
you're
what life gives
allowed,
you
yeah,
sometimes.
you're allowed to miss him and grieve him. So, for those of you who don't know, he did end up passing away um, that night. And tell us his name.
His name is Felix Robinson.
Felix Robinson. And how old was he?
He was 24 at the time. He was going to turn 25 that September.
So,
So
younger
he
or
was
older?
older than me. He was older by
Older.
about 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. 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 So, how old were you at the time?
22.
22.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm deeply sorry for your loss. And I know that it's so hard. And, um, yeah. So, you wake up,
Mm-hmm.
and do you find out that he's gone
Yeah,
when you wake up?
they ended up telling me because I was asking, what
Yeah,
was going
because
on,
that's your
and
main concern is him.
they kind of told me, and I didn't really
So,
have energy to kind of put towards all that because I was, dealing with
you're
just trying
trying
to
to
breathe and everything
fight
like
for your
that.
own life. Yeah.
And
So,
remember
they put a chest tube in
yeah,
eventually
they put a chest tube in
to
that
kind of
night.
inflate that lung so you could
Yeah, because it
breathe.
was, full of blood by then and all sorts of other stuff. So they were,
Yeah.
sucking all the blood out of it and everything like that.
Yeah.
And they had a oxygen mask on me and, just trying to help me breathe and everything like that. So um, the next day after that, I had talked to a Texas Ranger had came in and I was talking to him about the incident and kind of took my statement on everything and let me know, and I let him know everything that was going on. So I gave my statement, which I was I was on all sorts of pain meds and stuff like that, so I wasn't really too coherent. But
I
I did
bet
my
you made
best.
enough sense where they were like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, I did my best. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and then just kind of sitting there for a little bit, just while I was.
So when did you know that you were paralyzed?
Um,
And like your family come to Amarillo when you were
yeah, so my dad was in Dallas at
airlifted
the
over
time.
there? Okay.
My ex at the time, she ended up calling my dad and let him know what was going on, and so he took a flight. He was in the middle of a dinner, and he was like, "No, there's no way. Like you have to be joking right now. Like, what do you mean both my sons are shot?"
Mm.
And
It makes the hair on my neck stand up.
so he ended up, taking a flight out, and he got there pretty quick. And yeah, pretty much my whole family was there. I had friends there and stuff like that too. So they kind of let me know everything was going on. The doctors, told me that I was well. They told my family that I was paralyzed. And my family kind of told me before the doctors. To let me know. I denied it. I didn't want to believe it because I was like, oh no, there's a way. I'll
Yeah.
heal up. I'll be all right.
I really do think that's your first instinct because that's your brain just
Yeah.
in denial
Mhm.
because it's trying to save you and your mind is trying to save you and your mind is not understanding that. So I think denial is truly the first thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I sat there for a few days, kind of just recuperating, and ended
So
up.
did you have to have surgery?
No, I didn't have any surgery. They weren't able to do anything because I guess um, it was in a weird spot and it would have, I guess, damaged me more. So
More.
they kept the bullet in there, and it actually fell out like a year and a half ago, something like that, almost 2 years ago when I was in the shower. Cause
Really?
it had traveled and it was like sticking kind of out of my ribs a little bit, and then I was gonna go get it removed. I just was kind of pushing it off, but yeah, I was in the shower and went to go scrub my body and um, ended up it fell out of my hand. And I was like, oh okay, so yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Our bodies do weird things. I guess it was like treated it like a splinter. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and it's a foreign object, so
yeah,
it wanted to get out
yeah,
of there.
yeah,
That's very interesting. Wow. Huh, souvenir, I guess.
yeah, 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 for
Gosh.
sure.
Wow. So no surgery,
No surgery.
but it hit what level is your injury?
T9, so about midway, um, kind of about right above my stomach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like above belly button.
Yeah, T9 complete.
Okay. So like belly button and below,
Yes. Yeah.
you're paralyzed
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
completely. No feeling, no movement, no nothing.
No, ma'am.
But you do have your upper body.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you go to rehab?
I did go to rehab. Eventually, like I said, I was in there at Northwest probably for about a month or so. Um, while I was in there, it did kind of hit me because I wasn't able to go to my brother's funeral, so they had recorded it for me and let me see it and everything like that. So I watched it while I was in the hospital bed.
Mm.
Um, and then yeah, they did some physical therapy and stuff, occupational therapy while I was there at Northwest, but my family kind of agreed that Dallas would have been a much better rehab for me to go to
Yeah.
over there at Baylor Scott and White.
Yeah.
So I ended up once I was able to sit up in bed without throwing up and stuff like that. I ended up making a road trip over there to Dallas, and I was in inpatient rehab over there for about another month. So yeah, they did a lot over there. They taught me a lot of
Wow.
things over there and stuff like that, like car transfers, getting in and out of my chair from off the floor and back into my chair and stuff like that. And they had an exoskeleton suit that I got into to try to get some more movement in and see if it would help with anything. So I mean
So
that was pretty
what's
nice.
that like a full body
Yeah, yeah.
kind of?
So they put your legs in it and it kind of goes on your back a little bit too, and they strap you in it and it's robotic, so it does the movement for you, but it mimics how people walk, so
Mhm.
it tries to like activate certain nerves and stuff like that, so that
Mhm.
it can possibly activate and stuff again. But I
Right.
mean, yeah, I did that. I did a bike with electrodes, so they put electrodes on my legs, and I'd pedal on a bike, and the electrodes would activate my muscles and contract them, so I was able to push on the pedals and everything like that to do that.
Wow.
Um, yeah, just and then some arm workouts and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to have strong upper body, which you do, which you do. But yeah, you gotta have strong upper body. So they taught you all of that.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So did I mean that probably had to have been amazing, learning to
Yeah, I tried.
do all that so you feel more comfortable leaving and going home and
Yeah, I definitely did my best while I was there. Actually, one of the physical therapists there, Lindsay, she ended up getting a hold of me shortly after, probably, well, I'd say about a year after that rehab, and she invited me to go speak at one of her classes there. And so I did that. I
how
went and spoke at one of her
cool.
classes. kind of let them know because they're all physical therapists in
Yeah.
training, so
Yeah.
kind of let them know about myself and
What an honor.
my injury and everything like that and how it is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What an honor. Wow. Okay, so you get out, and then do you live with your dad in
Yes,
Dallas for a
I
little
stayed.
while?
Yeah, I stayed with him in Grapevine for probably about I'd say like 5 or 6 months because it was. I ended up getting my own apartment. I moved out in November or no, like late October of that same year of 2021. And while I was apartment hunting, I was trying to figure out how to get accessible apartments and everything like that. So that was a challenge, but I mean it wasn't too hard. I figured it out pretty quick. And
Yeah.
same thing with driving.
Yeah.
I learned how to drive. I think a month after I was out of rehab. I ended
Wow.
up getting hand controls like off of Amazon or something,
Yeah.
and just hopped in the car and went down the street to go to a parking lot there in Grapevine, and I
Yeah.
did a few circles in the parking lot, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I can get in the on the highway. I think I got the hang of it.
Yeah,
So,
you're brave. You are brave. Wow.
so I went and got on the highway, drove around for a little bit, learned. Yeah, I learned it pretty quick. So,
So you just taught yourself.
yes, ma'am. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating. So when did you move back here?
A couple months ago, I moved back over here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to be closer to my family and stuff like that,
Okay.
so I moved back over here.
Does your mom live here?
Yes, she
Okay.
lives here. Yeah, my dad, he's actually in the process of moving to Florida right now, so
Okay.
he's got a job and stuff that he's got to travel for every now and
Yeah.
then. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, it'd be a good time for me to come back and see my little brother and my little sister and my
Yeah.
mom and my stepdad and everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's nice, and my grandma especially. My
Yeah.
grandma missed me a lot.
Oh, I bet she did.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
grandmas do that.
yeah. So I spent a lot.
Oh.
I spent time with them.
Yeah. So do you have your own apartment here?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was here for about a month before I ended up getting my own apartment here. So yeah.
Yeah. And did you find a handicap accessible one here?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. It's pretty.
Good.
It's in a good area. So
Good. So what are you doing now? What do you do? Do you work? Do you?
I'm in the process of finding a job. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get some IT certificates going and stuff like that, so I can have a better opportunity. But
That is
yeah,
going to
just
be the way to go. I'm telling you.
yeah,
Computers, technology, all of that.
yeah. So I'm
Job
working on that.
security.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of put it back a little bit there, but
Yeah.
I'm working on
Yeah.
it. But
So I am really big into mental health. Tell me about your mental health. Tell me about those first few days after. I mean, were you just tell me your this state of mind?
I think really I just didn't really. I kind of denied it there for a little while with everything going on. And like my brother, I denied his death. I didn't believe it for a while, and then I ended up kind of coming to terms with it. So after that, I turned real bad into alcohol, and
Yeah.
so um,
Yeah.
I, that's really I didn't really deal with my mental health as best as I should have. So
I think we all do that. We numb. We numb because we don't want to deal with it.
yeah,
And a lot of us numb and through alcohol and things like that. So don't ever be ashamed of that. I did that myself. So um, kudos to you for where you're at today.
thank you. I appreciate
I'm
that.
extremely proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me how you met Joe Chris and One Chair, how you got involved in One Chair at a time.
So I was going apartment hunting actually, and I ended up seeing D. He was at one of the apartments that I was looking at, and he just so happened to be in his car, and I was already leaving. I kind of scoped out the apartment, and as I was leaving, he was he was like, hey, he kind of hollered at me, and I was like, who is this guy?
Who's
So
this
yeah,
guy?
so I went over to his car, and he was like, asking me, he's like, how long have you been in a chair? What's your injury? Blah blah blah. And I ended up telling him, and he was like, well, I'm a part of a group that you should get a hold of this guy Joe Chris.
Mm-hmm.
He does a bunch of different stuff, so kind of help out your mental health or whatever. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was like kind of skeptical because I haven't really thrown myself into those types of communities
Yeah.
until just recently. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'll give
I
it a
was going to
shot.
say sometimes we kind of isolate
Yeah, so
until we feel comfortable getting out there. So yeah.
so I ended up getting a hold of Joe and
Yeah.
kind of told him who I was and everything like that, and he come and pick me up, and kind of we just kicked it off from there. And he would invite me to go do different activities and stuff like that. So I ended up doing that, and hand cycling. I just did the archery.
So you just competed in the bike ride.
Yes,
What was
yes,
that last weekend before last?
yes.
How many miles?
11.
God, that's so awesome. You did so good.
Yeah, it was
And I
fun.
saw you because I walked the neighborhood and I saw you out there
It
practicing
was fun, yeah.
all the time. That's so awesome. And just for your mental health, it has to be good to get out in the sunshine and the air and just
Yeah,
be free riding.
yes,
And so
ma'am.
then tonight you guys had archery practice.
Yes.
Where do you go
That
for
was at
that?
J&C, the archery range
Archery,
over there. Yeah, so that
yes.
that was actually pretty fun over there. Yeah,
Yes. Have you ever done archery before?
I have. It's been a while,
Yeah.
so it's been post injury, probably like a couple years post injury. So it's probably been like 8 years. So yeah, I
Yeah.
ended up doing that, and but
Did it all come back to you?
it slowly it did. But I mean, it's a little different in the chair,
Yeah.
but I mean, I figured it out. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, and you have to have upper body strength for
yeah.
that
So
too.
that
So,
I definitely I think I'm gonna jump into that more
yeah.
so that I can start competing and different stuff like
Yeah.
that, because that'd be nice. That'd be something to do, and
Yeah.
I like I like archery. So yeah,
I love the community that Joe Chris has created because I think community becomes your lifeline whenever you have people that have been there, done that. If you have a question, they are farther along than you on their journey, and they can tell you, hey, this is what helps me, or
yeah,
do this, or just someone to talk to.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
I
because you
appreciate
kind
him a
of
lot
feel
for that.
alone sometimes, and
Yeah,
so yeah, love Joe Chris and the community that he has created, and I love that you're a part of it. And I know I met you a couple months ago when you guys talked at it was the Lions Club something
oh,
at the
okay,
Lions Club
yes.
or something like that. But anyways, that's when I met you. But okay, so I'm asking this of everybody. If you
uh
can describe Joe Chris in one word, what would it be?
Eccentric. I say that, yeah. I say that, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. He is an incredible person, I'll tell you that. So, is there anything that you can tell anybody that's listening that is new to an injury, what you do for your mental health, or what you do on a daily basis to kind of get yourself in check and get ready for the day?
Really, I'd say um, just waking up every day with you have a hard time with positivity a lot when you wake up sometimes. So I'd say just trying to surround yourself with good people to try to help your mental health that way, and just staying busy, just trying to stay as busy as you can, so that way you're not
Yeah,
sitting around gloating around or anything like that. Just boohoo me this and that. So that's really the main thing,
I
I'd
love
say.
that. That way you don't get in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Which
Yeah,
sometimes, especially late at night, it's hard to do. But
yeah. When the
you
world
know,
gets quiet.
yeah. But
Yeah,
you just gotta kind of fight through it and
yeah.
do it like
I
that.
know. I always say if you can just find something to be grateful for, there's got to be something that we're all grateful for. And if
Oh
we
yeah,
can just focus on that one thing to be grateful for,
exactly, exactly.
and then we can make it through our day and on to the next, and
Yeah,
they just get better and better.
I agree.
Well,
I
I'm
agree.
extremely proud of you,
Thank you.
and I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's okay.
And I know that you loved him and you honor him all the time, and you speak so highly of him every time we've talked about it. So
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for sharing your story. Can you think anything else that you want to say or tell anybody
No,
that would help them?
just keep pushing, keep trying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's mindset.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all
Hmm.
in your mindset. So
I agree. Well, thank you everybody for watching and for listening, and we will be back next week with another interview.
Hey everybody, Joe Chris back again. It's Tuesday, doing another YouTube video. Um, Today we got to hear Alex's story. I asked Alex to do his because he's very new to the program. I wanted to give all our viewers and everybody that follow us and who's been watching these somebody's perspective as they're just starting in one chair at a time. And they're just starting to meet the wheelchair homies, and they're just starting to go to the monthly meeting. And so you guys can kind of hear now kind of where their headspace is, what's going on in their life, what they kind of been up to. I don't know what all he shared with you. And the goal is in a year or two, we do another one and there'll be updates on everybody. And that way we can always go back and they, especially as the person, the individual with the spinal cord injury or the disability can go back and look like, man, the achievements and the wins and the gains that they've made, but also some of the losses, right? Because in the disability world, every day is a new day. We have our ups and our downs. Trying to keep your mental health at a steady pace is just well, it's a job on its own. I guess you can kind of say. I'm trying to figure out the right way to word it. So about Alex, I met Alex the oddest way. Shout out to Demetrius. Him and Demetrius crossed paths over there at the apartment complex. And D totally immediately told him, hey, you got to get a hold of Joe Chris one chair at a time. This is our homie group. He gave him my number. Well, D doesn't tell me that he hands out my number to somebody. So I get this random text message that I want to be in the group. And I'm just like, oh, well, who is this? And so I text him a couple things and like, dude, are you real? Who are you? I have no clue who you are. And he tells me his name and tells me, he's a gunshot wound, he's a spinal cord injury. So I called him, pulled over. I was up at the Randall County Tax Office, I'll never forget. I pulled over, called him. Tell me your story, young man. Let me hear what's going on with you. And he kind of tells me what's going on. That he's back in Amarillo. He's from Delhar. He's giving me the lowdown, and he wants to be involved. He wants to find a group of supportive people to help him along his journey. Maybe this is the time of his life where he's ready to, accept help. He's ready to branch himself out there because if those of you kind of listening to the stories, it's hard to put yourself out there. It's hard when you're first going through an injury or something traumatic, as we've all gone through, or even born with a disability, to say, hey, you know what, there's a group of wheelchair users or amputees or visually impaired people, and I'm going to go be part of that group. Because for one, it's a part of your brain that's accepting that this is going to be your life. And a lot of people, your first 10 years through injury, you don't want to accept that you're disabled. You always have that want, that wish, that need. Dude, I'm going to walk again. I'm going to walk again. And a lot of us, I was the same way when I first got shot. If they would have told me, hey, there's a wheelchair group, I don't know if I would have went right away, because once I do that, I'm accepting this is my life. And I was so hard-headed and military ego that I didn't want to do that. I didn't see the benefits of it right at the time, but we didn't have something like this. And another reason why it's awesome we created it. But like I said, he comes down and, I think he's 5 years now in injury. I don't know the exact date. I'm sure he told y'all. And he says he wants to be a part. And so I visited with him over the phone, and then I went over and picked him up at his mom's. And I got to really tell him in person, when I meet these individuals, I give them my expectations. Treat everybody with respect. This group, it's, one chair at a time. It's your nonprofit, not just my nonprofit. Every one of us in the program, I always tell them, I hope when you're wearing our shirts or somebody says you're in the program, you put your chest down, your head up, and you say, dude, that's our program. We built this thing. Because, yeah, I couldn't do this on my own. I couldn't have the homie meetings if the homies don't come, right? You can't have fundraisers and say you support disabled people and you don't have nobody disabled there to support you or be there for you. And we've had a great group. And so once he started, I gave him a little bit of time to think or doubt. I said, hey, man, you're going to come to the house, you're going to hand tackle. I threw him in a hand tackle. And I know a part of him was like, man, I don't want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. He rode a couple miles and did good. He started training. And then Wheelchair Madness come up right around that time. I want you to come to Wheelchair Madness. I want you to meet some more of the adults, some more of the kids. And he came out. We put him in a ball chair. And never once has this young man said, nah, Joe, nah, man, I don't think I want to do that. Nah, Joe, man, I don't want to do that. Joe Chris, I don't want to do that. He's just, okay, what do I need to do? Okay. And so I really like his work ethic. I like that he was willing to put himself out there. He's at a point in his life that, he's trying to figure out that next chapter. What's that next chapter for him now? And so kind of like the rest of them, I think when you support yourself with a good group of people and they support you and you support them, then the sky's the limit. He's going now. Today we just got done with para archery. We just started para archery for our program. We had 5 of them go out and shoot today, adults, and we're going to take I think 12 of them to Endeavor Games, which will probably be our biggest team we've ever had. And we couldn't do this without people watching our videos, without people supporting us, um, donating and sponsor us, because this costs a lot of money. We're paying for hotel rooms for them to come. And that's 3 nights pretty much each individual. So it's going to be thousands of dollars for us to get the whole team there and get shirts and equipment. But as long as they put in the work, I always tell them we'll figure out a way to make the money, right? You don't ever want somebody to join your program and be worried about a cost, right? The same thing with him, everything I kind of approached him with, I said, hey, dude, shoot some archery, come to Endeavor Games. You can meet some people from different states. You can meet all these people. And he's just, hey, I'm down, I'm down. So I'm very proud of him. I don't know if he told you his goals, what he's got planned for his future in the next like 6 months, right? We've got a list of his goals that we're fixing to start knocking out. And like I told him, like the rest of them, sometimes I treat them like soldiers. I'm going to be on them. Hey, we got to get this done, get this done. So we'll kind of see. And I think he's along for the ride. So I'm glad you guys got to meet one of our new individuals that just started. So hopefully in a year he can do this again. And he has great things to kind of tell you about what's happening in his life and where he's at. Big shout out to his family. Got to meet his mom. And I think it's his stepdad a couple of times. And they've been nothing supportive. And when you're going through something like this, such traumatic as a spinal cord injury, or you're born with a disability, if you have a good foundation and you have a good support system, man, it's going to help you out a long way. And so when I get to meet them and I get to meet mom, and mom's on him still, he's a grown man, but mom is still on him about, you got to do this, you got to do this, knowing that he's going through all this trauma and all this stuff, all these setbacks that they have dealt with as a family. It's just great to see that they're all one team. And so it's really awesome to meet them and be a part of their families also. So a big shout out to them and to Alex. He's doing great. Everybody that's watching, I want to end this with saying we just had Wheelchair Madness a couple weeks ago. We just had the bike ride, the Top of Texas Heritage Ride, APD. Shout out to you guys if any of you watch these videos. Man, that was an awesome event. We had, I think, 6 or 7 hand cyclists out there. Kendra was out riding in the police ride, I think, taking pictures with Bob. Shout out to Bob for taking her around. It was just a great event. The community that was there, the cyclists loved it. We had nothing but awesome feedback. So I hope the city brings this thing back. For the city, the people that were driving around town, I don't think they liked it too much because they were blocking traffic. But it's events like this that we need around the community, and we were just honored to be around it. So we've been really busy the last couple of months, and now we got a competition. We have state track meet coming up. I want a big shout out because I don't know if we'll do a video next week. We got Taylor Brent going to come in and try to three-peat and win another state championship. We got TJ Isaac at a Lubbock High, TJ at a Caprock. Hopefully Toby out of Floydada, one of our new guys. Christian, Avery out of Pampa, Christian out of Muleshoe. Those are high school athletes that are all trying to make it to the state track meet. We'll find out hopefully by tomorrow the list and see who makes it. And hopefully the next time, if not this Tuesday, next Tuesday we do a video, we come home with either state championship or a couple of silver and bronze that get on the podium so we can keep the streak going. Because over the years, we've produced a lot of winners up in the Texas Panhandle, and I can say that I'm very proud of it. Because there's one behind the camera just smiling right now because you took her a big 3rd place. Shout out to Kendra. One day I'll have to come back and do my video over Kendra because I never got to talk about her. And she's done so much for us. So I think I'll do a separate video of her on her own so that way y'all can hear all the awesome things I have to say. So thank y'all again for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't, and keep watching these videos, and God bless.